What you're looking at right now is the video feed from a Logitech BRIO 4K webcam at 4K. You might be looking at it and thinking, wow, that looks very different from what I'm used to seeing, other than the color being incorrect, which I'm going to correct right now in post because this pinkness is driving me crazy, even though I have my pink lights turned off. So that's not what's causing it here.
You ever look at the Elgato Stream Deck and think, man, I wish I could have all of that power in the palm of my hands? Well, now you can. Install the app on iOS or Android, connect your Stream Deck software on PC, and start setting up your program launchers, CPU monitors, button to control your key lights, and stream scene switching, all within minutes. It doesn't get much easier than this. Try it free with the link in the video description.
This Logitech BRIO is actually a modified one from the BRIO Rework kit by Kurokesu. I'm not going to say that correctly, but there's the name. You can see it right there. This is a different camera. We'll talk about this in a moment. They've gone through the trouble, and they started with the C920 of basically disassembling the Logitech BRIO, building a new chassis for it that's a little slimmer, made of metal, a little bit more rugged, has the USB port on the back, and in the case of this camera, the mini USB port is actually screw-on attachable, so you can keep it locked into place. And then you can use manual focus lenses and custom lenses. So this uses the C or CS mount lenses, same as the Sub 2R camera did. So this kind of turns it into a little Sub 2R, just without quite as good of a capacity. And they've sent over a couple C mount lenses for me to use. I'm actually using the CS mount at the moment. This, I'm pretty sure, is the exact same lens I preferred to use on the Sub 2R when I reviewed it. It is a very tiny little, I believe, 12mm f1.4 screw-on lens, and you have to screw it in to focus it. So hopefully it's as in focus as I could get it here, but it's very wide angle, as you see here. You see everything around me. This is my entire wingspan here, parallel to the webcam, and you still see it. You even see my actual camera that it's mounted directly next to. The purpose of this video was just to show off this kit because I've received numerous questions about it. This, take a look at the rework kit. Does this make the webcams better? Blah, blah, blah. It's a very interesting project. I'm actually going to switch lenses now just so we can showcase the different lenses available on it. If you want some crazy bokeh depth of field effects with your BRIO, here you go. This is an 8mm infrared lens in case you want to shoot a horror movie or are doing security footage. This makes me feel like I have a sunburn just looking at it. Okay, it looks like none of these other lenses actually have an IR filter, so this is the only one I can use on the BRIO. So the ultimate question that gets raised with this kind of setup with the C920 or the BRIO is, does this fix the webcam? Does it make it a better webcam? They've completely disassembled it. They've resoldered things in certain cases, like making the C920 have a detachable USB cable. And obviously you can just buy the rework kits and do this yourself to your own webcams. You got manual glass so you can get sharper images. Does it fix it? And the answer is still a resounding no, because my problem with these webcams has never really been on a hardware level, at least in terms of the optics, which is really all this addresses. My problem with these webcams is the software. I still have to fight with these settings that don't do what they're supposed to get white balance that doesn't seem to work, to get settings that persist past reboots, to have more manual control over how the webcam actually looks. My problem with these webcams is of software, not of hardware. And they can't really, I guess it's possible for someone to do it, but they haven't just made like custom drivers for these webcams. It's still just a Logitech BRIO, as far as my computer's concerned. But if you need a BRIO or a C920 that's mounted up in a specific corner and you want, longer focal distance lenses without just using digital zoom, or you want a really fisheye lens here for some sort of streaming cam or stream event camera, and you can get the settings tuned how you want and things like that, or a specific project camera, something like that, where you have a specific project in mind, the setup could work very well for you. But for just fixing the BRIO for a normal creator or streamer setup, it's more or less the same IMO, unfortunately. None of this is, of course, to discount the work done here by Kurokesu, which, again, I'm saying terribly. These things feel like much better consumer products than even the original webcams, which is really impressive. These cases are really nice. The reworking job done is very impressive. And like I said, there are use cases where you do just want a manual lens slapped on your webcam, and this will get you what you want. But in terms of drivers, Logitech webcams still have a lot of problem, and every single video I've made complaining about webcams is mostly a software complaint. This was meant entirely just to be a super short and basic video to showcase these. I don't really have a lot more to say about them, but I do want to take a look at this one. This one is not a C920 as I originally called it when I did my unboxing. This is just, instead of a rework kit, it's called the C1 Pro, and it is an H.264 MJPEG and YUYV USB camera. Connects over USB 2.0 and has the IR cut filter built in so I can use those other lenses. We're going to take a look at this one real quick. All right, this is the Kurokesu C1 Pro webcam. It's a little crooked. My mount is failing me at the moment, and it is pretty cropped in. This is the 8mm f1.4 lens. This is as far back as I can reasonably get it, but since it's such a tiny sensor, you know, crop factors are a thing, even if they don't work the same on these smaller sensors. And it's very zoomed in here. It's a manual focus lens, of course. It shows up as a custom driver, so they were able to set up, you know, their own driver name and things like that for it, but it's pretty nice the fact that it, you know, it's one of those things that if you fine tune it, it will stay exactly where you want it, as far as I can tell, which fixes a lot of the problems with the webcams in that the resetting when you reboot and things like that. But the frustrations of setting it up are still here. And this kind of seals the deal for me that even if this is set up in such a way that I still run into the same frustrations that I do with Logitech webcams, something about either the webcam driver itself as a UVC device or what have you, or some other part of making a webcam is what's limiting me here, and why I don't think that webcams are really what you should be using for your content creation. White balance is a problem. Right now I am pasty white if I uncheck my color correction. However, if I change it immediately by unchecking auto white balance, I go to green, and I can change it over here to orange or over here to blue, but at no point am I ever going to get a natural skin tone out of this. Nothing on this spectrum is a real skin tone that I would want. And even if I play around with hue, all I do is like introduce purples and pinks and whatever, like it just doesn't work. And so what I'm forced to do is use my color chart and go in and post and try to fix it a little bit. Now these settings stay still. They're most likely not going to reset when I reboot, and I'm able to adjust manual exposure properly, which I can't do on the Logitech cameras. Because if I set it to auto exposure, I'm a little overexposed here. But if I uncheck that and drop it down, now granted, it does have the similar issue of if I check auto exposure and then set it back to the exact settings I just had it before, which is where it's at now, suddenly I'm much brighter than I was before. That's a problem that Logitech cameras have. Suddenly, my exposure is different on the same number than it was before I checked auto exposure again. So I'm trying not to make any more videos crapping on webcams overall. This is a cool project on the whole, and if you're looking for something where this isn't a concern for you, you're just doing day-to-day stuff where these complaints seem pointless to you, and you want a manual focus lens and these different kinds of lenses for your flexibility, and you want settings that will stay together, and you want it over USB 2, the C1 Pro from Kurokesu is probably the way to go. If you're looking for this as a potential solution to the problems of webcams, keep looking. This isn't it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more tech education and stream guides. I have a whole playlist of a bajillion webcam reviews linked in the description below. This would be fine for Skype or just, you know, video calling or something like that, but doesn't solve the content creation problem at all. Maybe even for scientific purposes, this is all you need, because you don't need, you know, proper skin tone rendition or whatever. But yeah, comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you later. Product links will be in the description below if you're interested. Go sub on Flowplane if you want early access and behind the scenes content.